Hey there, Stampers. Happy Friday. Welcome to this month's Scrapbooking with Paper Pumpkin live video. My name is Sherry Roth. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Alberta, Canada. And every month when I receive my Paper Pumpkin kit, I try to go live with um, an idea on how you can create a scrapbook layout using that month's kit. So this month's kit is the Inked Occasions. This is the April 2025 kit. You can see it's got a beautiful kind of um, inked marbled box that coordinates with the contents of the kit. It gives you a little sneak peek at what's inside. So I'm going to walk you through what Paper Pumpkin is, what's included in the kit, what it's intended to make, and then we're going to create a 12 by 12 scrapbook layout with it. So before we get started, I just wanted to remind you of a few things. First of all, today, which is April 25th, 2025, is the last day of free shipping. Here in Canada, the minimum order is $100 before taxes and after any Stampin' Rewards are redeemed. So I would take a look at the last chance list. Cardstock is going up, unfortunately, with the release of the new catalog on May 6th. So take a look at your cardstock, maybe order an extra package of the colors that you use most often because it's a significant increase. Here in Canada, a 24 pack of colored cardstock is $15.75 right now, and it is going up to $20. So stock up on those colors that you use over and over and over. The last chance list, you'll want to check those out because those items are only available while supplies last, and some of them are marked down. So that's another great thing. And yeah, exciting. New catalog goes live on May 6th. So we are almost done with this catalog. I'm so excited. I've been creating a ton of stuff using new products. So I've got a lot to share with you over the course of the next few months. Okay, so Paper Pumpkin. What is Paper Pumpkin? Paper Pumpkin is a monthly subscription kit. So basically, you get a box delivered to you each month, and inside the box is everything you need to create whatever that month's projects are. Um, Usually, they are cards, but on occasion, there is something different. So what you get in the box, you get some instructions, so photos of what the cards are intended to look like or the project is intended to look like. So this month we got the supplies to create 9 cards, 3 each of 3 different designs. And you get photo instructions on how to put those cards together. It is meant to be quick and easy crafting. So they are not complicated projects. These are perfect for if you're planning ahead for the summer and you go camping or you go to the lake or whatever. This is the perfect project to go. If you're going on holidays, you could throw one of these in to get your crafting fix. And they're perfect because then you've got thank you cards to leave wherever you need to leave thank you cards. If there's thank you cards included in the kit, I guess. It tells you what's included in the kit. It gives you a photo, and Stampin' Up! Releases a new die set every 3 months that coordinates with the next three months kit. So this is the second, no, this is the first month that this die set coordinates with. It will also coordinate with May and June. And then it also gives you the coordinated Stampin' Up! Colors as well. All right, so here is a peek at the cards for this month. So there's that. Love, love, love. Like this, when I saw this kit, I knew it would be perfect for scrapbooking because of that beautiful pattern paper. Do you guys remember we used to have a 12 by 12 pattern paper that was very similar to this a couple years ago? I loved it. And this one, look at this die cut element. So there's just a little bit of stamping. We stamped the greeting and then the little butterflies on here. And then here's the other one. I didn't put the strip across, but there's this gold foiling accent, and then the envelopes coordinate as well. So those are the 3 cards. So that's what I usually start with. I will start with creating one of each of the projects because that kind of familiarizes me with the contents of the kit and kind of gets me thinking on what I want to do for a scrapbook layout. You also get an exclusive stamp set. So this month, this is the stamp set, mostly greetings. So thinking of you, congratulations, hugs, you are amazing. I'm here for you, sending my love on your retirement and to the happy couple. The only way to get this stamp set is to be a Paper Pumpkin subscriber. And then we get an ink spot. This month it was Berry Burst. We get adhesive, so there's dimensionals this month. And then you get any of the die cut pieces to create the projects. And I love that they usually print the card bases both front and back. So if you love to stretch your projects, these are great because you can cut this in half and you can create multiple cards out of just one card base. And then we've got envelopes, and then there's coordinating tissue paper as well. Okay, so I'm going to keep these things out. Actually, I probably won't need the envelopes, so I'm going to put the envelopes back in. And the stamp set, because I'm scrapbooking, well, I might leave it out because maybe you are amazing. I could use that. The scrapbooking or the stamp set isn't, this month doesn't happen to be great for scrapbooking, although I could use the butterflies. So I will keep it out. All right, and then I've got all the contents of the kit. I probably won't use these hugs, and I probably won't use that. So I'll just set those aside. These ones I will use. So now the next thing I do is I pull out some coordinating products to go along. So obviously if I'm creating a 12 by 12 layout, these papers are not big enough to create a 12 by 12 layout. So I pulled out some white cardstock and then some Gorgeous Grape. I know, Sherry never uses purple, and Sherry's using purple. But I happen to have this two-toned Gorgeous Grape cardstock left from, I think it was the Halloween paper scrapbooking workshop kit. So I happen to have this 12 by 12 two-tone cardstock paper left. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to gut it and then add a piece of white so that you just have a little bit of purple around the edges showing. And then I've also pulled out some brushed brass butterflies. So these are some gold butterflies. I thought they work perfectly because there are some gold accents in the kit. And then I also pulled out some purple fine shimmer gems as well, just in case I wanted to use those. I needed something for a title, so I pulled out my Alphabet a la Mode dies, which I absolutely love, my favorite dies for alphabet sets. And then the linked together dies. So this is actually a die set that's on the last chance list. And I absolutely love it. I love the flowers. I love the leaves. I love this kind of lattice pattern. I especially love this. So we're going to create a fun background using this shape. So like I said, this is on the last chance list. I forgot to look up the price or if it's on sale, but it is only available while supplies last. There is a stamp set that goes along with it. I don't have the stamp set. It's a bunch of greetings, but the dies work well. They stand alone. So, and then I've also pulled out some gold threading, which this is also on the last chance list. I'm so sad. I feel like we should always carry gold thread because I don't know, it's just a staple in my eyes. Okay, so what I will be documenting a single 3x4 photo. This is of one of my grandpuppies. Her name is Indy, and this was when she was just a little puppy. I think she's 2 now. I think she's 2. So she's a little bit older, and she's adorable. She's a little princess. So I'm going to be documenting that. I thought that the pinks and purples would kind of go really well with that photo. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to gut this. And I like to do this whenever I'm taking a layer and putting it on top. If there's a whole bunch of cardstock in the back, I like to gut whatever this piece is in the back. So whether it's cardstock or pattern paper, because it stretches your supplies. So I'm just going to do a 1-inch border. I'm using the Stampin' Up! Trimmer. So this dark blade is what cuts, and the blade is actually in the center. So, and there's a ruler along the side here. So I'm lining it up with the 1-inch mark, and I've lined the edge of my cardstock up with the 1-inch mark on this side. Okay, so then I'll push it down, and then I'm going to go all the way down to the 11-inch mark, and then I'm going to stop. And I know I'm not on camera there, but let me move it up a little bit. So you can see here that I've left it at 11 inches. And then I'm just going to lift this up. I'm going to rotate, line it up with the 1-inch mark again, I haven't moved my blade down here at the bottom, so I'm just going to leave it there and then cut all the way up to the 1-inch mark. And I'm just going to repeat that on all 4 sides. And that's how I got my cardstock. So from 1 to 11, rotate, and then from 11 to 1. Okay, get that aside. So now we have, oh, I just need to snip this little corner here. So now we have this frame and a great 10 by 10 piece that can be used on maybe a second page if you wanted to turn this into a 2-page spread, or you can use it for matting your photos, or you can use it for a separate project. Okay, so now this is going to go on here, but I'm not going to adhere it yet because I want to figure out what I want to do here. So what I've done is I've taken each one of these card bases and I've cut them in half. So I cut down the score line. And then the back half, so I did not use the front half. For the front, this is the only one where the front half varies. But I wanted to keep that gold frame intact. So I took the back half of all 3 of these and this die, and I die cut them. I die cut some shapes. So you can actually fit, if you strategically place this, you can die cut 2, you can get 2 of these out of 1 card front. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've done that. So here is an example. Let me pull in this one so I can show you. So 1, 2, all right. And I still haven't thrown this away. I don't throw anything away until I'm finished with a kit, because even this piece, that can come in handy somewhere. So I don't want to get rid of that. So I've gone ahead and I've done that. I've die cut a bunch of them. So let's see here. And we're going to create kind of like a little, I don't know how we're going to do this. Let's kind of play around with the positioning here. Maybe something like that. Or maybe this goes up there. This goes here. Maybe something like that. Okay, and then I've got my photo. And then I've popped out the pieces. So I've got this piece here. This could go kind of underneath here. And if I do that, then I'll trim this, because then I can either extend this onto this side, just keep it going this way, or use it on a different project or in a different area. But that's I just kind of want to get the feel of my layout first. Okay, and then what I did was I took my Alphabet a la Mode dies and some adhesive sheets, and I cut my title. So my title is going to be Too Cute with the number 2. Maybe we'll put it up here, or we might put it down here too. It might actually be better down here with this straight edge. Although the straight edge would lend itself well to journaling underneath that. Let's try it up here. So I used adhesive sheets so that it turns these die cut elements into stickers. And you'll see when I go to adhere it, I can just peel off the backing and stick them down, and I don't have to fuss with any kind of liquid glue. All right. I feel like this is a little bit too symmetrical. So let's have a look here. But I don't know that I want to move that completely out of there. No, I do like it better with this in there. Okay, we'll leave it like that. Okay, but I think what I'm going to do is I am going to do this. this, I think I'm going to do it this way. Okay, and let's figure out where this needs to be trimmed down. I think I'm going to trim it right here. And I want to save these little things here. So I'm going to try to follow the shape as best as I can. Okay, so then this can get tucked here, and I can either put this here, which it kind of gets lost there. I'm going to move this up a little bit. Let's see. It does kind of get lost there. So I might save this for a different project. Oh, it might look okay down here though. That's kind of nice. We'll see. Okay, so that's kind of the general idea of how I want my layout to look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start adhering these, and I'm going to grab my quilting ruler. So I have a 6 by 12 inch quilting ruler, and I really just want to get this first piece so that it's pretty even and straight, because that's what I will use as a guide for the rest of my pieces. Okay, so I'm lining this up here and with the bottom, and this is the first one that I'm going to put down. I am going to use some seal adhesive. Seal is always my adhesive of choice when I'm scrapbooking. When I'm card making, I always use multi-purpose glue. I love multi-purpose glue, but I don't like to use a lot of liquid glue when I'm scrapbooking. Okay, so I'm going to carefully put this down, and I'm going to line it up so that my top and bottom points are lined up with the ruler. I'm going to make sure the ruler is straight and that it's centered. So the side, so this is lined up with the 6, oh, it shouldn't be the 6-inch mark because our paper is smaller. So it should be, this is cut at 11, and so it's going to be down a little bit. So 11 and a half would be 5 3/4, but it's a little bit more than 5 3/4. So 5 7/8, approximately. It doesn't have to be perfect. I really just want this to be straight. Okay, I think that looks good. And then I'll use that as a guide to adhere the rest of my triangles. And I'm not going to push anything down just in case I need to reposition. And this one at the top here, this is the reason why I did not adhere the white layer, because I knew that I would have a little bit to trim off. And I want it to end with the white. I didn't want it to end with the grape. So I'm leaving about, probably not quite an 1/8 of an inch in between each one of these triangles. Good morning, Shauna. Thanks for joining me this morning. All right, and we'll pop this one on here, just like that. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I can pop that down, apply a little pressure, make sure that that sticks. And look how pretty that background is. You could actually use that this way or this way. You could even fill the entire background if you wanted to cut more of those diamonds. I'm just going to trim off. These excess pieces. And like I said, I'm not going to throw those away because who knows, they might make for a great little accent on the layout. Okay, and now I'm ready to stick that to my frame. So I'm just going to add adhesive just around the edges. We have no center, so we don't want to add adhesive to the center. Good morning, Lana. Yeah, my quilting, I use that quilting ruler all the time. I love it. It's perfect because you can measure in multiple directions at once. And 6 by 12, I feel like is the perfect size. I did have a 12 by 12 one, but I found it would just get in the way. It was just a little bit too big. So 6 by 12 is the perfect size. All right. Okay. So now we've got this on here, and I considered matting this, but I don't think, because the green, there's so much green in the background, I think it really makes the photo pop. I don't think it needs to be matted. I will pop it up using dimensionals though. So let's go ahead and add dimensionals. I'm just going to use the dimensionals from my kit. I'll use the ones around the edges. Just because my photo is a little bit bigger, I'll save the smaller ones for smaller elements. Okay, and I'm not going to take that off just yet, not until I figure out exactly where I want my positioning to be. Okay, and then this is going to go under here. So I think that I'm going to put on flat, and for that I will use some multi-purpose glue, just because it is a bit on the fine side. Actually, I might use a combination of both multi-purpose glue and dimensionals. So a little bit of multi-purpose glue there, and then some dimensionals on the flowers to make them pop up or stand up a little bit. Okay, put that right about there. Let's make sure it's straight. Yeah, that looks good. So now this part is flat, but the flowers are popped up. And then this guy's going to go on there. Okay, so now we have this. I don't know. What do you guys think? It feels like it's just a bit, I don't know, maybe I could cut off one of the leaves and have it hanging down like this. I think I like that idea better. I could also use maybe the larger leaf, although it does get lost there, doesn't it? I think I like this idea. I'm going to cut out this larger leaf. Just snip here, here, and right here. And then I still have this little bit, which this little bit could go at the bottom here. I don't know, we'll see. I don't know. I'm going to set that aside for now. Okay, so I like that. And then let's see what we've got here. Okay, I had this piece that kind of fell off when I did some die cutting. So this could go across the top. Do that. I could add some gold thread up at the top, just to pull in a little bit of that gold. We could do that. Okay, the other thing, okay, let's figure out where we want to do. Now that I've got that up there, I don't know if I want to add my title here. Let's see. Might be a little bit too much with a lot of white space over here. Or we could do our title over here. No, I don't like it over there. This is the tricky part. This is the fussy part where you kind of decide where you want everything positioned. I think it's got to be here. Yeah, I think that's a good spot for it. Okay. Now the other thing that I did, so I had this empty space on here. I did die cut some of these leaves from the linked together. So I did one of the big ones and then one of the small ones. So I do have those as well. Thinking maybe a small one. I think because there already is quite a big one there. So the small one, that just pulls in some of this lighter pool party color up at the top. I could do another little cluster here, but I do feel like I need something else over here. Let me think here. Okay, I also have this. This is one of the elements in the kit that's got some gold. So this is meant to have like something over top of it, but I could kind of tuck it underneath here to bring in some of that gold. I could put this up there, but I do kind of like it down there. Okay, I'm going to adhere my title. I do like the title there. So just so it doesn't move around. So I've got some tweezers, and remember I said I used adhesive sheets, so I can just peel off the backing, and then I just use my tweezers to kind of position it. So I'll just peel off, well, we have a seam here, so we got two pieces. So my daughter they've got two dogs. So Indy is one of them, and then they got another puppy in August. His name is Goose, and he is a border collie. And Indy is part German Shepherd and part Husky. So she's got one blue eye and one brown eye. And oh my gosh, such different personalities. I had a few dogs growing up, but just seeing them and how they interact with everybody, it's amazing how different their personalities are. I never really noticed that with dogs of my own, but man, so different, so fun. Okay, so now what do we want to do here? We do have some flowers that I could cut. I could maybe do a little cluster of flowers in, okay, I was going to say purple, but we've got purple here. So maybe the pink. And the pink is, this is where these instructions come in great. The pink is berry burst, and there's a little bit of fresh freesia. So maybe I could do berry burst in those and fresh freesia in these so that we have kind of a mix of colors. Just having a look here. Okay, there is Highland Heather in this paper pack as well, but I don't want to bring in any more purple. Okay, so I'm just going to go to my scraps here, grab some berry burst and some fresh freesia. Let's see here, that should fit on there. And then some berry burst, some scraps here. So I just keep my scraps in, it's just like it's like a little page protector. Not page protector, it's you use them in binders for business. They had holes down the side so that you could put them in a binder. I just cut those off. Just something inexpensive, and I have them tucked into each one of my color files. Okay, so now I'm going to bring over my die cutting machine. And I'm going to do this off camera just to save having to move everything. So I'll die cut these and these. So these flowers are also from the Link Together dies. I don't use a lot of flowers, but I really like the flowers in this. I'm more of a, if I'm going to buy flowers, I'm more of a simple flower. I don't like fancy flowers. So I just love the simplicity of these ones. Okay, might have to cut a few more, but let's start with this. And yeah, I think I will cut a few more because I really like these flowers when they're layered like this. It makes them a little bit more full. I can do a little cluster here like that. I think that's pretty. And then I'm going to cut, oh, what did I do with the dies? Here they are. And cut another one of these. Actually, I think I'm going to cut two more of those so I can add two up here. Do that. I'm going to do one more. All right. Okay, so if we layer these and do a little cluster up here, two pink ones and two berry burst ones in this one. Yeah, I think that'll be good. This will give me the opportunity to maybe use some of these purple gems. I can use them in the center, but then still incorporate the gold butterflies because the gold butterflies are just the perfect addition to this kit. I just love them. Okay, so we're going to bring in some mini glue dots so that we can adhere our flowers. Just going to stick one behind here and then layer them. Let's add this guy on here. Do it like that, and I'll just use a little bit of multi-purpose glue for this. And we can use another mini glue dot to adhere this. Okay, that's a cute little cluster. I like that. Okay, actually, now that I look at this, do I want to use purple in the middle? I'm wondering if I want to pull in some of this peach color instead. Plus, in the flower centers are not generally purple. Let's see what I've got for peach embellishments. I might have to look in my last chance stash. So when the last chance list comes out, I always separate my current stuff from my stuff that is soon to retire. So I don't have anything current. So let's check this stash. Okay, so I've got these yellow. It's not really peachy. Got one peach left in there. Some of these are slim pickings in them. I know that there are some peach ones. I don't know if they're current. I've got a couple classes this weekend, so I've got stuff set aside everywhere for my classes. I think it was with is it the party dots? Which I think are carrying over. So why are they not in here? They are not in here. Okay, so I don't know where those are. Just going to look in one more place here. Okay, nope, can't seem to find them. So maybe let's have a look at this. We could use the pool party ones. There is pool party in this kit. Ah, I don't like the yellow. I want the peach ones. Where? Let's see here. Okay, I have these in my retired stash. I don't know if there's enough of these ones. There are some peach ones. There, we could use those. Although these might be a bit big. Oh no, I think they'll work. We'll use these ones because these are peach. Okay, so these are the 2024-26 in color resin dots. So these are in this catalog. I did not check before we went live because I didn't know I was going to use them, if they are still available on the last chance list or not. But these are the peach color that's in here, so I'm going to use those. And we'll put a large one in the center here. Yeah, that's going to be perfect for pulling in that peach color. And then small ones in the center of the purple flowers. All right, there is one cluster. Okay, now scoot all that out of the way. Okay, and I'm going to take the backing off of all but this corner for now. And then let's make sure this is straight. Position this. I think that looks straight. Okay, and then I'm going to adhere this. And the reason I didn't take the backing off of there is because I want to tuck this underneath. So I'm just going to position that under there, and then I'll peel off the backing and stick it down. All right, get these out of the way. Okay, we can start layering these flowers. Offset them just like we did the last one. Does anybody have any fun plans for this weekend? Shauna will be at class on Sunday. We've got a scrapbooking class with the heirloom arrangements kit from our kits collection. So we will be making, I think it's 5 scrapbook layouts with that kit. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to use dimensionals for this one. Pop that on there, and we'll use a dimensional for this one as well. And then let's see, I might take this. Yeah, I'm going to tuck this in there. And then we'll use a mini glue dot for this one. Pop it in right here. Okay, and then we'll add our resin dots. Okay, and then we can add this up here. I actually don't know if I'm going to add any journaling to this. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. It's just a picture of my puppy. Maybe I'll add the date and her name. So I do want to be mindful not to stick off the edge there. A day of rest and relaxation. Yes. Okay, that doesn't seem to want to stick. Let's use a mini glue dot. I think that sounds good. Maybe a glass of wine. I'm going to need that after this weekend. I've got class on Saturday, class on Sunday. Had to squeeze them in before we leave on holidays. All right. Let's give this a bit more dimension. I think it looks good. Okay, I want to finish it off. I want to add some of these gold butterflies because I just love them. And we'll add a couple there, and then maybe one down here. All right, and we are done. I love it. What I might do is I might cut just a little tag. Actually, maybe I've got, okay, I was just thinking. So these are kind of shaped for the words. So that might not work so well. I could use one of these shapes and just write Indy's name and the date on it and kind of have that right here, or even tuck it in up here or down the side, maybe down the side. Okay, let me grab a pen. I'm going to use one of my Sharpie pens. This is my go-to pen for journaling. And I don't know what the date is though. I have to look that up. Maybe I'll just put Indy as a puppy. And kind of tuck that in there. Okay. So I'll just add a little bit of seal adhesive, and then, oh, I don't want to cover up that leaf. I really like that leaf. Now I don't know. No, I don't like it. I'm not going to use that. Okay. So what I might do is I might see if I have like a little tag that's cut that's left here. I just checked my scrap bin. I've got this, but I don't have that much journaling to add. Although I could cut this. And just tuck it in here. I like that better. Do we want to add another gold bowl here? Or is that too much? I don't know. It's not super noticeable. I don't think it's too much. I think I will make it a little bit smaller. Trim the ends a little bit. And I'll use a mini glue dot to adhere it. And then I'll add my journaling afterwards. I need to look up the date. Yeah, I like that better. I'll just add a little bit of adhesive to the back of this, tuck it under. This is why you don't throw anything away. If you've got all of your supplies kind of handy, like this was cut from a kit that I ended up separating. I couldn't even tell you what the die comes from. But perfect for just adding a little tag on there with a bit of journaling. All right, and there we go. Our layout is done. It's so pretty. So this month's paper pumpkin kit, so the inked occasions, which unfortunately you can't get the full kit anymore. And the refill kit, they had some issues with it. However, we were told that it should be available sometime in May. So they do plan on still releasing, or they still hope to release the refill kit. It just will be a little bit delayed this month. Normally it's around the 20th or 21st of the month when the refill kits become available. But the only way to get a refill kit is if you're a subscriber. So you do need to be a Paper Pumpkin subscriber in order to get a refill kit. So there is a link in the description below where you can become a subscriber if you live in Canada. All right, so let me just bring this up a little closer so that you can take a peek. And I will have a full supply list with links to my Canadian online store for any of the extra supplies that I've used. All right, so thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I will see you again soon. Take care.